Cool. All right. I think we're good and live for the most part. Dan RC checking in from Illinois. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. How's everyone on this little Thursday night? We're back. I was out last week because I was still sick over Thanksgiving weekend. The flu or whatever, and it was actual flu because that's what Dallas actually went to the doctor for. The actual flu came back with a vengeance and took most of us out. Me and the kiddo, we were down. Dallas was down. Jake was down. The wife did not feel good. So I know got sick, wasn't feeling it. I know I was sick because I didn't even go crawling that weekend. I had the whole 4 days off. Didn't go crawling once, and then I ended up missing two and a half days of work. First time I'd called in I don't know, probably a very, very long time, probably close to 10 years that I've actually called in. So it was not fun. 10 of 10 would not recommend. Dream big, build small. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Jack, what's up? Custom RC Crawler, how's it going? Theron, what's up, boo-boo? Jack, the flu hit hard here. Yeah, dude, it was bad. I'm still not feeling all the way there yet. I'm still just like really just lack of energy, and I haven't quite got my appetite back yet. Like I don't like get hungry or crave anything. I just know I need to eat something. So I force myself to eat stuff, which is because normally I love food. So Chainsaw, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Dan RC, we had it here around St. Yeah, that was a couple of the other guys from work. They same thing. All that Thanksgiving weekend just got them. And honestly, we didn't even go out shopping. No, sorry, yeah, 10 of 10 do not recommend. Whatever it is, 1 of 10. Yeah, 1 of 10 not recommended. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, we didn't even do any crazy shopping. I mean, Jake was with us. We ran to Walmart, got a couple things, went to Lowe's, looked at dishwashers that the wife wanted to get, and naturally went to Hobbytown, and that was the extent of shopping. That was basically it, and it took us out. Yes, Shane, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, but yeah, we are back, and we've managed to get a few things done. In the meantime, put together a little fun build here. Picked up a set of the Wheels of Fortune from Vanquish and got the methods in blue with a gold IFR beadlock ring, and I cannot remember the name of the actual beadlock rings on there. But they came out great, and they were a set of the Moose Jaw assembled sets, so they came out really good. Except I got them, threw some Vanquish tires on that I had, and then I was like, I don't have any trucks to put this on. So we built a new truck because that is logical. So put together a nice little fun build here, just something a little, just to have some fun with. I started messing around and thinking on stuff, and I was like, man, I'm kind of getting low on just trail trucks and stuff again. So I put together the Truggy, and I still have the Phoenix, but that was it because my Wraith is gone. It went to Jake, and then Kiddo's Ecto went, the Gatekeeper went. So, but I had plenty of LCG trucks going, and I was like, I need a trail truck, and I've had this HPI FJ Cruiser that I found a stash of them at places, and I've had it setting, taped off, and cut on the shelf for about 6 months. So went and hit it with, the light doesn't do this. This is yellow. This is highlighter yellow. And then I did some Herculiner, Bedliner, Line-X there. On the other trims, like it came out okay. Dream Big, got my new rules printed and ready to follow along. Yes. If you can see, yes, I got mine all printed today. I read through them last night. Watched the live stream that they were on last night. They were on Harley Wednesday night live stream takeover last night. So I followed along through there. took in a lot of that information, and also several of them are on some of the other teams across the board between In the Works, Super Shafty, C2C, stuff like that. So is able to nice get some questions and stuff going. So I think I have a pretty good handle on that. Jan, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Exactly. Why not a new one? Exactly. I'm going to have to get used to this. And it works really fast. Oh, thanks. Oh, Marcy, how's it going from Scotland? How's it going? I do have a cool. Let me find it. We do have from the from the big lake there. We do have the Nordic Crawl Dragon chassis that we got a little while ago. I just haven't got everything going on it. I've been doing some measuring on links, so that's what I'm trying to do. Get some math work on the links, get some links ordered and stuff like that. And then we're going to get that built up as well. It looks really nice. I have all the 3D printed stuff, winch mounts, servo mounts, skid plates, sliders, chassis braces, and stuff like that. So it looks to be all super, super nice. Not a whole lot of information for it necessarily. I have a lot of pictures that were sent to me on getting everything assembled. So we'll be doing that here soon, probably closer to Christmas, maybe even after Christmas before we really get that thing up and running. So it'll work. Compared. Oh, yes, the Ninja winch. Yes, the Ninja winch is ridiculously fast. And fast winches, someday if you have a spot that you can just set up gates or have a winch stick or something or a person help you, I highly recommend, or even before wherever you crawl locally, have a friend help you out. I highly suggest get in some practice. Just put gates randomly in places and just practice running that winch. The Ninja's fast, and especially if you should, hopefully you have a momentary switch where you can push it to go in and let off and it stops. Some of the switches like that where you would like push it and it goes and you have to hit it again, the Ninja's too fast for those types of controls, in my opinion. Stuff can go bad real quick unless you have a momentary switch set up for that winch. Just do some practice. Get out there, winch it in, winch it out, winch it in, and work with winching and driving at the same time. It takes a little bit of practice, but it can be done. Kurtz RC, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Where's that chassis from? I can't pronounce his name, but it's the Nordic Crawl Dragon chassis. Yeah, Nordic Crawl Dragon chassis is, I believe, the correct proper name. I'll get all that worked out officially. I just been going through, getting a few other things fixed up and getting some links and everything made up, measured and stuff like that. I need to get one of the builder's tables where I can put the chassis on it, get the axles and everything on there, and then it can just set there. And then I can be like, okay, this is the wheelbase I want. And then I can start measuring and stuff like that. Really need to. Customer, would I do a FlySky GT5 for C3? I personally don't. I don't like the way it feels in my hands, but several of the other local guys do have them, and they seem to like them. I like something with a momentary switch. The DX5, Tabas do too. The DX5 probably has the best momentary switch. It just does in the location because it's just that little switch. It's just a little switch there, and it's a 3-position, one way, leg off, and pull it back towards you. That's probably the most convenient switch to use. But like my Noble, I programmed it to have momentary switches. Press it, lets out. Push it, lets in. So that is my preferred controller. And actually, I almost ordered another FlySky because on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, Amazon had the Nobles for like $150. So that was a really good deal. Like, part of me really wanted to snag a second one. One second. Ha! Looked for that flashlight for 2 hours last night. Put it in a drawer. I just had it. I said I got this bumper specifically ready for this chassis. So Just need to do a quick little test fit here. Can I get it closer? Oh, I can't. Okay. So that's as close as I'm going to be able to get that. Chancellor picked up a Phoenix Portal Kit during the Harley Science live stream for $320. Nice. Yeah, that was those little flash sales they had on those were kind of crazy. Those were some really, really good deals for sure. I think I saw them a couple times. What, $319? They were popping up for just really, really good deals. I really wish I could have snagged one, but the straight axle builder's kit is still on there too. So I may try and snag one of those. I do have a set of regular Phoenix straight axles coming. I did pick up a set of just the axles themselves, just to have them be ready for a build. So, and for the price point, I mean, for fully assembled axles that I know are good and can handle some beatings, very good deal. Matt, what's up? How's it going? Customer C, I have the DX5, but I want independent control for the rear. Oh, nice. Oh, speaking of, Matt's actually here. Matt, I know you and Mike use them. For four-wheel steer on your GT5, you guys just use like the wheel at the top, right? To control the rear axle independently. So if that's the case, then yes, that would, for rear steer, definitely, it is definitely nice to have independent control on rear wheel steer. On Class 3 trucks, that is honestly, I think, a make it or break it, is being able to control that rear axle independently. Yeah, it is nice just to, select through the switches and have four-wheel steer, because that is, that's going to be nice. And if you work at enough and get all your switches and everything right you want, you can cycle through this stuff pretty quick. But being able to move the rear axle by itself, let off a switch, and that axle stays, that is very, very huge. Very, very important and super nice. All right, that's done. I'll move that in a second to get caught up. Andy, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. C-dubs, yeah, $329 with the machine gears. I got the straight and portal kit for that as well. Nice, very good deal. Indy, I got the Phoenix straight axle kit for $319, and through the extra 100, got the 105s in blue. Nice. Yeah, those deals, and especially, what's the one right now? Is it the $499? You get the Phoenix straight or portal with machine gears, and you get a Wheel of Fortune. That is still a killer deal. The Wheel of Fortune was a ridiculous deal. Just let alone $125 for a set of Vanquish wheels. It's already cheaper than normal. Plus, you get hubs, which you normally don't get, and you get upgraded V-lock rings and the IFR rings. So, it's definitely worth it. That was a heck of a deal. I wish I would have waited or got another set when they threw the purple ones in there, because those purple ones look good. C-dubs, channel 6 is what I use for full steer on a GT5. So there you go. Check out that channel. I thought about using that controller several times. I just have not gotten around to actually doing it. One second here. Actually, I need to pull this off. But I don't. I need to conceal a few things on here. So, also, I do have another new Yellow Jacket coming. Three Brothers did release new versions of Yellow Jacket, a 2100 kV and a 2500 kV. I do have a 2100 kV installed here in my Class 2. Just haven't gotten around to getting actual video done on it yet. Because I have ordered, it's currently with the Mamba Micro X2, which is good, but I did get another Silent Assassin ESC coming, so I would like to do a video on kind of both of them at the same time, And I do have just another one to put here in the Reaper. Sorry, I just needed to actually get the body on there so it doesn't come off, because needs to stay enclosed. Then it's okay, $5.99, but still a very good deal on the Phoenix with that stuff like that. I guess generally speaking of, I mean, obviously people have been snagging up the kits and stuff like that. Anybody else get anything cool or take advantage of any of the Black Friday sales, or even the sales that are still currently popping up on and off, or just in general, did you get anything new over the last couple weeks in the holiday break and stuff like that? Mine was mostly Wheels of Fortune. Built a whole new truck. A couple new motors coming. Other than that, I don't think I did get the new. I know people have asked. I don't know if we had these on the last live stream or not, but we did get the new Pro line, the Baja Pro X 1.9s, and put them on the Truggy because it was a good fit on the Truggy. Now, I know a lot of people have been interested in these tires because they're 4.85 is what they're supposed to be. Yes, 4.85. So that would make them a C3 legal tire with the new rule upcoming. Now, the tire itself is an awesome tire. I've had the 2.2 versions on my TTC trucks, and even like this, the overall tire does great. I haven't put it through any strict actual competitive crawling. And one, this truck is not going to be a competitive crawler because it weighs 45 pounds. But overall, the tire is still has shown a lot of potential and has done really, really good in just all the terrains. And I've paired mine with the 4.9 anti-foams. Suppose I should probably do a small little video on those as well. Like I said, being sick the last week, I kind of accomplished nothing. There were a few things I wanted to do videos on, but I was getting winded going from the couch to the kitchen to grab Sprite or orange juice. I think I drank probably 4 gallons of orange juice over 2.5 days. It was ridiculous. But so then stuff I wanted to do videos on, I just I'm too miserable for a video, but I still just wanted something to sit here and tinker because I was already off for a few days from work and then off an additional few days. I got bored. So I just needed to tinker and build with something. So really that was the easiest and the least amount of strain on me. I needed to get up off the couch every once in a while from Netflix and the PS5. Just because I was I at least need to move up and stretch and make sure my body still works, because I kind of that couch was my home for 4 days. Customer C, I've seen West Desert Wheeler use it on one of his builds. Why I thought about it. What KV would you do with F10 portals and a VFD and Capra and 3-gear? KV motor, I like, depends on your ESC and if you're running. You did say 3S. Depends on if you're running 3S or 4S. If you're running 4S, you can go with lower KV motor. If you go with 3S, for portals and stuff like that, I like the somewhere around the 2,000 to 2,500 kV. That's my line that I like. So, Chase, I've got the Mamba Micro X2 and the Holmes Hobby 380 revolver for the mini Capra. I've been seeing that pop up everywhere. I still need to get one of those mini Capras because there is a lot of stuff coming out for that. And its size, I just saw one in person, messed with it for a little bit. The size is okay with me. I think I can deal with it being small because it's not overly small. Kirk RC picked up a Capra. What's a good motor to put in? Just for trailing and just everyday crawling and stuff like that. Do you want to stay brushed or do you want to go brushless? Lots of good options out there. If you're going brushed, I definitely recommend any of the Holmes Hobbies. Brush motors are really good. ESC wise, the 1080 is always a trusty and faithful ESC, which Hobbywing just released several new things. They released a new version of the 1080 ESC that has on-the-fly tunability, and then they've also released 2 new fusion systems. Fusion SEs. So instead of being machined aluminum cans like the Fusion currently is, they're in steel cans. So they look to be the size of the Pro, so true 540 can, and a little bit smaller than the first 1800 Fusions. I think they have a 1200 and 1800 kV versions, and they're like, the pre-order for them is like $69 or like $79. So definitely also options out there. And so if you're looking for like ease and stuff like that, the Hobbywing Fusion, the Pro, it's an ESC and motor all in one. The 2300 kV would suit just fine. If you're looking to go brushless, again, lots of options out there. My motor of choice that I like in that type of stuff, I like my A6 motors or the Kratos from Three Brothers. Those are my motors of choice. That's who I drive for, so that's what I use. And again, with the capper, probably somewhere around that 2,000 to 2,500 kV would be plenty. Or you can go huge, like my Phoenix, the Truggy there, that's got a 3,300 kV motor in it. It moves when it needs to. Raymond, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Andy. Gary, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. What's up? Yeah, heater. I had the same thing. I've put some limit switches in mine lately, and it is not agreeing with the new limit switches. So got a couple more coming in just to mess with something. The thing is, it's poking at me because it'll be working just fine, and then it'll stop, and then it'll start. I'm like, just stop it. Right now, it's just limited to 3. So yeah, somewhere around there, that 2,500 kV range would be plenty. Mini Capra showed up at TRX4 a couple times. Oh yes, I'm sure that Capra is definitely got to be more capable than the TRX one, and I like the size better, a lot better. But anyways, so yes, so you have tuned in. Sorka has dropped a new revised version of the living rules. They've added some things in there, reworded some things, and gave us bigger new pictures and rectangles and things like that. Even rectangles are rectangles, it's fine. So yeah, lots of new changes on here. Good changes. I'm fine with the whole rule set. I kind of was before. I didn't have a problem with the rule set at all. Because the more first reading the rules, yes. First reading the rules, it was ridiculous. Then when I actually just sat down and read the rules and looked at my trucks, like, actually, it's not bad at all. But we are up to 50 pages now on the rule set. But also, if you click on the Sorka page, if you click the links, there is the link that there's the actual rules, and then there's a separate hyperlink that is just a pictures if you want to look at the pictures. And again, if you download it and it's on OneDrive, whatever, the whole document is hyperlinked, so you can click on anything and it'll take you to where it is in that section. So, like I said, overall, I'm perfectly fine with the rules. I didn't see a problem with them. They're not necessarily a problem, but I knew a few things would get reworded. They specifically said, hey, we had them look at it. Here's the beta drop. We need your feedback, and then we're going to fix it. I'm like, cool. So I didn't take any of that super crazy. I did start work on things just I was bored. And honestly, I didn't need new bodies for anything. Everything would have passed. But I went with new bodies anyway because I like to build new stuff. So again, just kind of going over, a few things where I had like the on C2 and C3, like there was a lot of questions about this section right here, about how close to the wheels and stuff were. They mentioned right off the bat that it was accidentally misworded wrong. Those numbers were carried over from Class 1. Class 2 and 3 will have their own numbers. So again, I wasn't worried about it. I went ahead and got all the bodies mounted and did mild trimming towards like, okay, it's going to, no matter what the rules say, this thing should pass. But now that the rules are out, we're going to get the scissors back out. We're going to get the tape measure back out. And we're going to chop it up. We're actually going to chop up probably all of them, 1, 2, and 3. Because I can trim quite a bit more from my Class 1. And actually, before I do that, I am going to order another bug and another Hilux body, and we're going to squish it. We are going to section it like I did like Matt did my class 3 body, and narrow it down to match my track width. We're going to see how that comes out. If it doesn't come out the way I want it to look, we're just going to scrap that idea. But that is something that I will be trying here probably the next couple weeks once I get another. I got another bug body. I just need to find another Hilux bed. So I don't have any that aren't cut up enough to use and carry over to class 1. Yeah, but especially now, how the revision rule sets, I actually would have been legal in everything, minus the shock towers, shock hoops coming through the bed, and I think bumper on just my class 1. Everything else was perfectly fine. The only biggest thing would have been like loss in points, like because I had shock towers coming through the bed, I wouldn't have gained drop bed points, but a lot of that's been figured out now and should be good to go. I did rough estimates on my C2 and my C3, and without anything crazy, I'm well over 50 without using all of my skill accessory points, which you can get 14 of those because they're all combined now. Static ride height, how before what they wanted you to do was push down and then let the truck unsettle, and that's how everything measured. That's not a thing anymore because for people that do like kind of build higher up trucks or trucks that honestly kind of set up and look more scale, it's kind of a disadvantage on how they build. Whether you build droop or not droop, it changed dramatically, whether you were legal or not legal. So now it is just compressed. So you just squish it down, which mine don't move because that's how they are. Mine ride basically on their bumps the whole time. So now that is your ride height there. Change a few words, a few things. I said the pictures definitely, real quick here before we get too much deeper. The pictures definitely better on the pictures because before it was just these rectangles, this odd shaped truck. And we're like, okay, it's weird. But now, if you look at the pictures or print them off, you can see there is an outline of an actual Class 1 truck behind it, and it is the Hilux. It's the Hilux. So it gives you an actual reference truck behind. Like, here's the actual truck, and then here's the rectangles. Like, here are my build lines. Here's the actual truck. Here's what is the important part. Important. The rest of this is what it is. So that definitely, I think, helps, especially like here are your views. You can see where the truck is and see the rectangle they're looking at, stuff like that. So pictures, definitely much easier to read and kind of follow through and stuff like that. Oh. Let me get caught up here. Rain, so where did you get the beat up truck body? Last I saw, they were waiting something to be released, but never heard anything used. I made that one. It is to me a bug. I took my cutters and cut it in half, and I took a Hilux bob bed and I squished them together, and then I cut more off the back of it. We'll pull it down in a second. It's nothing pretty. My trucks, I go for ugly, not pretty. I'm morally functional than anything. Oh, not the tiny. Okay, the actual TRX4. Okay, yes, I could definitely see that. RNC, axial, Air 45 portals, keep breaking pan arm out. Is there something to fix? Yes, there is, and I think someone just mentioned down below. Yes, G-Speed makes a pan hard mount that goes into the plastic axle. And it is metal. It bolts right there, so you don't break the pan hard off anymore. Jake, what's up, buddy? You getting your winch installed? 1 second. Tristan? There's paper towels right there. You want some gloves? Actually, I don't know what the gloves are. Here they are. Okay, sorry. We're back. Gary, Sorker Committee approved the parts I'm coming out with to be fully legal, so I'm excited about that. Should be going full production next week. Nice. That's always good to, especially in manufacturing, get everything approved before it actually hits out and stuff like that. Steve, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Gary, have to get a new body for C2. Going to run the same body, but I'm 1/4 inch too short currently to reach the back of the wheel, or new one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. And back of the wheel. So that's where I was borderline on the bug, but I had a little bit of room in the front. I could have just scooted it back and drilled the holes. Nope, playing Xbox. Nice. Well, that works. Custom RC, what body for C2 and C3 would you do for Sorka Light? I don't mess with Sorka Light, so I don't know what's special, and I'm not familiar with the points and stuff like that. I would probably just be running the same bodies and stuff like that. Lightweight, narrow, whatever suits your fancy. Me, thanks for it. Yes. Yep. And heck, those mounts are only like $10. It's like old Sorka rules. Yeah, their points though are a little off. Like you don't get as many points for certain things, and you only need like 30 points. So, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter whether it be Sorka or Sorka Light, and that's not going to matter on body choice. I don't think very much. Just if you want to run a hard body, you run a hard body. If you want to run a Lexan, run a Lexan body. As long as it meets the whatever rules and coverages and anything like that's needed. So that would be my go-to. I'm going to work on this one as my actual hard body build for this upcoming year. Then I am also planning on doing a Lexan, like a 50-point Lexan body, or get it close. The more I'm thinking about like C2 and C3, 50 points is not hard. C1, actually, I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with C1 hitting 60 either. Thanks to a few new rules and Brett there, with some driver help, I'm able to hit some points pretty easy now. So I will probably like to do a hard body, and then I want to try to do a Lexan body. Maybe a video on each of those on getting points and stuff like that. Racing Scale RC, I'm here now. You can start over. All right, everybody, back to the beginning. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I am back after being sick for a week. If you haven't seen the pictures that were just posted on the Brazen page of the best paint job for the upcoming, or the best paint wrap for the upcoming 2023 season, head over and take a look. It is hilarious, and they're awesome. Go take a look at the Brazen page. It just got posted an hour ago, if that. With some kick-ass wraps there for the upcoming season. So pretty sweet. Definitely digging those a lot. But as far as actual points and stuff, I do think there, and I want one of those wraps. Nope, you don't get one. But I think local wise, a lot of people have been taking, not everyone's been out lately since our big end of the year throwdown comp, but local wise, like I said, I only do a few Sorka comps a year, really. I don't think I'm going to Scale Nationals next year. I'll be having a very newborn, and it looks to be California, so it's still up in the air, but most likely will not be happening. But we do a couple local ones between us and Oklahoma and our big end of the year comp. So honestly, I don't need a 50-point hard body all the time. So I am going to, I'll have this truck ready for rock and roll. At any point in time, or if we decide to do a Sorka event, which I would like to do some, maybe even like a top 10 list. Hey, here's our one Sorka comp, here's our 2 courses for the day. Let's do this and get it going. So I will still have Sorka trucks. My class 1 will be full Sorka all the way through, because at any of the comps I go to, for class 1, King, Missouri, Crawlapalooza, a few others, They do require hard bodies specifically anyway, so I'll just leave it. It just stays the way it is. I just run the 60-point C1 at everything. And C3 will also, I'll get Lexan bodies for each of them ready to rock and roll. I'll probably do the sumo body on here because it looks really cool. And I do have a body ordered, and I'm actually going to see which one it's going to fit on better. But honestly, with this, much as I've cut out of the class 3 and as narrow as it is, weight on it's actually pretty good. So, and it performs really, really well. Gary, again, thank you. The EXO is an excellent choice. It has been a super fun build, and the colors look great as well. Yeah, this is true. The Lexan really doesn't. Once you start looking at the points and stuff, especially interiors or roll cage or something like that, 50 points comes pretty easy. I mean, I'm throwing all my stuff away. All right, well, fair enough. Brazen, couldn't help myself. I had to poke some fun at the new rules. Oh, of course, dude. It's friggin' awesome. Oh, actually, speaking of, the Brazen, the Leaf Spring C1 chassis, is that limited time deal, or will that come back here soon? Because I need to get one of those now. Because also, if you haven't been up on a few things, they have not really teased. Sorka will officially, they're going to be working on it throughout the year, but they will be adding officially a class 0 to really answer back to people that are like, well, it's not scale anymore. We want actual scale, super scale stuff. So class 0 is for that. So we will be building a true class 0 probably later on this year, stuff like that. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So they will go in batches 5, 10, that would be more in a week or so. Okay, cool. May go ahead and try and snag one up, because if I'm going to be doing a class 0, we're going to do Leaf Spring and whatnot. And I know you guys have that. And that chassis is awesome anyway. Get some Leaf Springs on and get more points and have some fun. So I will need to pick one of those up for sure. You want to grab a bag, Dylan's bag, and you can put that stuff in. Grab a Walmart bag, put the whole thing in there. And once you're done cleaning, put your coat on and let the dogs out for a minute. Sorry. Doggos apparently thought it would be cool in between the time the wife went back to work for lunch and I got home to bash open the gates to the kitchen and decided to eat some things. So they are not the happiest right now, but it's their fault. But they'll be okay. Solar app, love it, yes. Just so happens I've been working on a leafer. There you go. Leaf springs on the things. Which there is a few other things. Been going back and forth about, leaf springs and actually building like a competitive class 0, but still looking good. And like class 0 is fun. Like I've done class 0 a couple times and it's fun. But the only time I truly drive those trucks are at events. Our local area is not small tire and scale truck friendly at all. Like, yeah, we can go on long trail rides, but it's just going to be trail rides. We're not able to get the truck actually up on the rocks and stuff like that. So that's the only downside on it of actually investing in building in one of those. So RMC, fairly new to crawling. Where do I find info on comps in the Texas-Oklahoma area? Trying to think there. I know there are several guys from Texas in the Extreme Oklahoma Crawlers group, and then in our local group, the Wichita Custom RC. Most of North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, like we're in those 3 groups. We do a lot of stuff. And Oklahoma's kind of that midpoint between like some of us in Kansas or Missouri, and then for the South, like Texas, Arkansas. A lot of times we can kind of mash in the middle. And we've been working on getting some bigger comps laid out, something either here or down in Oklahoma, and kind of like a state bash. Like, okay, here's your Oklahoma guys, here's us Kansas guys, here's some of the North Texas guys, or Arkansas, Missouri. Like, all right, here's the guys from our areas, and we're going head to head in front of the, go ahead and put it in the washing machine if it's empty. So, yeah, definitely. As far as the actual Texas-specific groups, Precision Comps is one. I know, yeah, that's Precision Comps is one based out of Texas. Extreme Oklahoma Crawlers, and then our group, Wichita Custom RC. Like, we're all kind of right there, all along 35, and it's never-ending construction. So, there you go. Come here. Oh, thanks. Hi, puppy. Want to say hi? On the cameras. There you go. I don't care. Brazen. My leafer is Metal Masher with one of my bodies getting caged. Ooh, now, that's right. Yeah. The Metal Masher bodies are just so freaking awesome. They look so cool because they take the abuse, and they do not get more scale than that. You can go outside. Go outside. From knew you'd like it. Picking up the V1 Reaper chassis from our teammate. I'm excited for that. Probably just take a while. I got to build that. Compete C1 and C3 EXO first. Oh yeah, totally get you there. Luna, out of there. I'll go. Luna, come here. Go outside. Burn yourself. Or sit there. I don't care. You can sit there. That's fine. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. A Brazen here, ready to rock and roll. Been putting it through its paces. Got thanks right again for that Ford motor mount suggestion. At least got everything in there. I need to do a little bit of work. I made got a couple spacers I made so I can get everything leveled out and get some angles fixed. But other than that, it worked great. I know another thing they did put in here on the rules. I know a lot of people are like, well, with living rules, they're going to change all the time. And I did stress that in my video that in any of the Sorka videos, you have to go back and check the rules because stuff can change. But the reason is really good. And they do put in here like how often possibly it could happen. For example, like minor changes. Rules that need to be updated for clarification or wording fixes, those can be done, you know, basically any time, which those are good. Like if someone's like, hey, what's this actually mean? Or just a couple more words added, that can be fixed in simple. Then there's like major changes, you know, stuff that like is exposed at an event or something that is in the rules and fits the rules, but it's in the new gray area. That will be something that's voted on and then taken into account over time. So like I said, I'm not too worried about it. Again, that truly is if you build in the gray area, which I do. I try to build in the gray area. I want that mix between scale and performance. So that's what I'm going for. So I'm well aware if something changes, I feel like you looked like cleaning myself. Well, we just talked about it. But yes, I fully expect how I build my stuff, and me and Brett were talking like how we build certain aspects of the build. Not every part of here of my builds are sketchy. There are certain parts of the build I do prefer to be sketchy because there are advantages. And one of those in like class 1 before was always approach angle. Get your front bumper as narrow as you can, or curved around your body, and get it high. Your approach angle was the biggest advantage you could gain in C1, plain and simple. You could have all the different bodies and heights and stuff on you wanted, but your main advantage in class 1 with small tires was your approach angle. And like they mentioned in the video last night, with the rectangle being the way it is, and how the bumper can't be taller than your tire, so it's not going off, you know, body and chassis and stuff like that. It is specifically to the tire. So, but what's something that's like, what's the tire? Tires are limited. So you can have smaller tires, yes, but you can have up to a 4.19 in class 1. So no matter what, a 4.19, I can't say that because certain tires, but a 4.19 tire is a 4.19 tire. So at best, it's going to be a couple millimeters difference between tire manufacturers and stuff like that. So you're not going to be able to severely gain that advantage because you simply can't go higher than the 4.19. Now you're going to get creative with some angles. Like mine right now, I made it plain, simple, legal, stuff like that. Actually, we're going to put this away because I can't show what I want to show without showing other things. So like my bumper, I made it safe. Straight line, 1/8 inch thick bar, straight across. And I actually made it wider than it actually needed to be. So now that rules are more official, kind of set in stone. So my bumper just has to be as wide as the inside. So you must meet the specifications there. I just want the actual wording real quick. There are a few other things I want to touch in on the general section. So the bumper must be as wide as the inside front track width below the tops of the tires. So it's not asking about the center section or anything like that in regards to the body or the windshield. It's specifically talking the track width right here. Actually, 1 second. Wasn't even thinking. I told him to throw that in the washer and get it and everything like that. But so it's specifically the inside track of the tire, and I made it wider just in case rules change. So I can actually cut mine probably 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch off on each side, and simply take your truck, put it down, get your body and everything on there, drive it into a wall. Make sure every part of the bumper hits before your tires hit, and you're good. It's close. Now, if I turn, my tires are out. But straight, parallel, perpendicular, into a wall, the bumper hits first. It's close, like millimeters close, but it is there. Now, a couple other things, and I put it almost directly level with the tire at full compression. So we're good there. I'm not going to be able to do any crazy bending, but like I said, I'm going to be able to cut probably that much out of it. So that, again, is going to be good, but that's almost the most that you can do with that period. You're not going to be able to do anything crazy with it. So what I would love to do is be able to take this bumper, curve it up, back around the fender and everything like that. But I can't, because then the bumper is going to be behind the body and above the tire. So overall, it's good changes. I'm happy with them. Do you ever think about this schedule? Oh, yes, very, very nice. I liked it. Always good. Always a fan of it. Just a good old scale build, stuff like that. Gary, if I got an extra transmission yet? No, I have not. Because, like I said, being sick, I had a few other things going on, so I did not. I had to wait on it. But are they back in stock yet? So I need the right-hand motor drop side. Wait, that does count as a transfer case, though. I do need that. Yeah, yes, I agree. No, he didn't. But yeah, Theron's whatever we've been doing with, he's just having to buy stuff that I want, and he's rubbing it in my face. Brace the scale. I stapled my printed rules by class, then points. Yes, that's very good. That's actually a brilliant freaking idea. Make this much easier to go through. A few other things. I don't think anything else in the general section changed, other than I didn't notice this last time. I'm not pulling the old rules out, but transfer case, they added some wording. Not necessarily good wording, but kind of like a ban list, I guess, because points are awarded when a transmission is present and has gear reduction from the motor and a difference of the gears that is driving power of the axles. And technically speaking, we know it's not, but it is. Like an axial 3-gear transmission has an input gear and then disperses through other gears potentially. So, but it specifically says a standalone factory 3-gear transmission does not count towards transfer case points. Now you can have a 3-gear here and then have a drive shaft to a forward motor mount, and then that would be a transfer case because you're going to have from the gears front all the way to the back. So then it would be a transfer case. But as it sets by itself, no transfer case. because there were a lot of questions about like the T210 and how its power is transferred and stuff like that. So currently, basically, if it counted as a transfer case last year, it counts this year. So no need to worry about anything like that. So I know there were several people, even I had the question myself, on the T210 transmission. Yes. Yes, I did. Well, I was hearing things. But yes, I did. And then, I don't know if anyone has the old rules handy, but maximum beadlock ring diameter, that's a new one. I was kind of confused until I watched the video and why they explained that. I was like, makes sense now. Electronics, all that stuff, full compression check, tire band list, tire sizes, which is also a good one. I'm happy with the tire sizes. I like separating class 2 and class 3. I think that's just how it should be. Matthew, are your rear shocks going through the bed on C1? Yeah. Are they? I don't know. They're covered. Yes, they do. But they're covered. And actually I have this little guy right here and some foam, so I can actually put stuff in there and hide everything. But yes, and simply, that was a big thing. They said you couldn't have protrusions through the bed, which is for most of us flat rail chassis. Protrusions, that's what it says. It's a word, because I said it. But you can't have your shock towers coming through the bed unless you cover them up. And they said you could cover them up with scale accessories, and that was fine. But then a lot of us had the questions like, because then in the point section, for drop bed specifically, it said in order to gain drop bed points, the bed has to be a complete floor, no holes, no protrusions. We're like, well, you can have the shock towers do, and you can cover them up and it'd be legal. But if the holes, would we lose drop bed points? So that was clarified specifically in here. So for class 1 and class 2, shock towers can come through your shock towers, or for class 1, your shock towers have to be covered if they come through the bed. They have to be covered. Class 2, they can come through the bed and be visible. But if you want drop bed points in class 1 or 2, with your shock towers coming through, they have to be covered. Class 3, it doesn't matter. You can have shock towers coming through and still gain points because it's class 3, and giant shocks through the bed on class 3 trucks it's kind of a thing. So for class 1 and 2, if you have your shock towers coming through and need or want to get your drop bed points, they need to be covered. And I just took some foam and some scale accessories and threw them over. It's all good. Or a tonneau cover. And I do believe they mentioned that in the live stream last night. A tonneau cover, one, it serves as a scale item because it does things and it does exist. So you can have your towers through, have your tonneau cover on. If they're hidden, you roll up your tonneau cover and show them, hey, I got a drop bed. Obviously, it's not going to work on mine because I cut the whole tailgate and everything out. That's just how mine are. But just some simple scale accessories, cover everything up. 3D printed coolers, fuel cells. What I think Theron did on his was printed his cooler, which has everything there, put it upside down and just glued the lid to the bottom of it, which works just fine. So I like that idea quite a bit, actually. Gary, didn't know they were out of stock. From being local and a team driver, I go straight to the source. Sorry, Nessa. Well, I mean, maybe I need to message you when I need to order one. Actually, I need to message Rico because he did ask me specifically if I got mine yet. And I told him, no, I need to wait. So I may just message him. I'm sure he'll give me a heads up for the next drop. So, boom. Yeah, especially for drop bed points, yes. I still have my first book. Yeah, there's a few things. I haven't compared the two, but at that point, I don't care. I don't need to compare the two because I have a new set right here. C-Dubs, do you ever use any of your front winches as axle suck-down winches like 101s? No, I do not. I've seen people use it. I've seen it work, and I see why they do it. I just have not. My luck, I'll get something completely tangled up and then not be able to actually use my winch when I need to use my winch. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want you to get censored by YouTube.
Hold on. 1 second.
Oh, did you hit pause?
I muted it so I could.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can mute the microphone.
Just tell them I didn't want you to get censored.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, as far as the actual suck down witches, I've seen it, just never used it myself. I just know I would mess something up entirely, or have to have a second winch and kind of just chilling. My 1-to-1 Chevy Septile has shock towers stick to the bed. Why is it not scale? Exactly, because I mean it is scale, but like it does exist. And I think it really depends on where you're at. Like, oddly enough, here, like in the middle of infinite fields of Kansas, we have an absolute surplus of fully built overland trucks between Jeeps and Toyotas. Those are actually the only two because all the others suck. Those are infinite amounts. And shock towers and long travel suspension coming through the bed, I could honestly probably see one every day going to and from work. I think there's 4 Tacomas here in town that have long travel suspension and shocks like coming about 1 foot, 2 foot out of the bed. Which is actually what I want to do to my truck. I just haven't been able to like defend my reasoning entirely because at the same time I also want a newer truck. And I'm giving my Tundra to the kiddo when he starts driving in a couple years. So I'm like, he doesn't need long travel suspension on his first truck. It'd be cool, but they said you can. How they said also, like you can search just about any picture and find something and be like, oh, it exists, so it's scale. Just because it exists doesn't mean it's scale. I guess was the best way to put it. Because truly speaking, yes, some people do daily those trucks, but realistically speaking, it's not a class 1 truck. That's not something, and honestly, it's something you're probably not going to crawl with necessarily. Like, for example, like my truck is just a highly lifted Tundra on 35s. That is close to class 1 as it can be, maybe borderline class 2. If I start cutting the fenders and everything like I've wanted to, that would probably be more class 2. But it's not something that you truly do see every day. It's not something that you go to your dealership and pick up. Like you can go pick up a Tier D Off-Road or a Tier D Pro or it's Chevy ZR1s or whatever, or a Raptor. I can't use the Raptor. Yeah, I can, because the Raptor doesn't crawl. It just does things really, really fast. You get those, and you take immediately out without doing any modifications. That's how I've always personally described Class 1. Class 2 is, okay, got the truck. Here's 10 grand worth of suspension and tires. Let's go. And so on and so forth. And Class 3, of course, is Class 3. I thought it said only C1 had to be covered for points, C2 was fine. No, previously was fine. But it specifically says in the drop bed section now. Let me find it. Dang it, I just had it. That's roof rack. Oh, speaking of, that sucks. I have no legal roof racks for the new rules. None. Dang. Because there are several things on drop bed. C1 must have all protrusions covered and not visible to receive points. Class 2 must have all protrusions covered and not visible to receive points. Class 3 can have protrusions that are not covered and receive points. Must have bed sides and different measurements on the widths and stuff like that. Because a lot of things people are talking about protrusions. Well, anything could be a protrusion, like body posts and stuff like that. Though any body mounting does not count as a protrusion. So that is that. There, I cut the bottom out. Cut the bottom out of what? Oh, well, you cut the bottom out and then print and put in a new thing. That's cheating. Mike, Matt stopped by Hobbytown today and they had Tuscan stuff. What, like 475 Tuscan stock at Hobbytown? They also have Vanquish tires. They have the VXT2 tires there too. So, which is what I told them to order. I've told them if they can get their hands on any of the J Concepts new crawler tires and the new Vanquish tires, they need to get them because they're really good tires. So, I'm glad they did. Jake told me about the Vanquish tires. He did not say anything about the Tusks. So, I may see, because if they have 3 sets, I'm going to pick them up and give them to Justin so he can cut and shut a set. Chance it's the only way I could fit the 14-inch travel. That'll do it. They said those bed boxes, like they make up. There's a full setup for the Tundra with bed box and everything, and it is beautiful. LSK makes, I think it's LSK. I mean, I know King makes a lot of stuff, and Old Man Emu. Actually, Old Man Emu has his like the everyday suspension setup that I would get, the BP51. Leaf springs, remote reservoirs all the way around, which better remote reservoirs than I already have. But yeah, the LSK makes a beautiful full kit now. Bed box, trailing arms. Oh, the whole thing is beautiful for the Tundra. Just can't justify $17,000. I want it, but I can't justify it. Paul, there are places that have local laws against some of those mods, so it isn't. This is also true. Yes, there are a lot of things here in the Midwest. We don't believe in any traffic laws or automobile laws. You can, at any point during the summer, drive down the street and see an 8-second drag car with a parachute hanging off the back of it, and that is that. And right next to that would be a fully built Baja truck. Oddly enough, in the middle of our infinite fields, we have a plethora of vehicles. Our Chevy dealership the other day, which actually we still have them there, got traded in. 1 Porsche and 2 Lamborghinis, a 2022 Lamborghini and a 2021 Lamborghini for the new McLaren. So the new McLaren is $1.3 million, and the trade-in was 2 Lamborghinis and a Porsche. Both Lambos were lime green too. I actually need to go down and just look at them. But that's, oddly enough, like I said, middle of our infinite fields, that's the stuff that ridiculous. Like there are odd, nice things here that we have an abundance of, and Lamborghinis is actually one of them. There are a lot of Lamborghinis here. Yeah. It's not about being scaled. It's about points are supposed to be some kind of disadvantage, like adding weight to your vehicle. Exactly, and that is what they've mentioned. Scale points, how they're orientated, they're supposed to be a handicap. They're supposed to be the handicap for those that don't build or aim for the performance side. They can build on the scale side, and that was supposed to be the balance. Was, okay, the truck may not be as capable, but it has all these points. That truck is not very scale, but it is super capable, and there's supposed to be that mash. They're supposed to meet this way. But the way rules are written, the points are getting the points is the points aren't a handicap, they're a beyond advantage, because if you show up to any major SORC event, or actually any event that uses scale points, if you do not have a pointed out truck, class 1, 2, or 3, you are most likely not even with perfect runs, you're not going to be in the top. You're not going to have a chance, because not only are they going to have good runs because their trucks also perform amazing, they're going to have an extra -50, -60 points on you because of the points. So they're not at a disadvantage anymore. And the way the rules, they're trying to get the rules worded, and the point system is you choose. Do you want the points or do you want performance? And on the competitive side, I was like, I'd rather have the performance. So there are things that you will willing to like. I don't want that. I don't need that. I want the performance side of it. And that's when, yeah, weight on everything. Like Brazen mentioned, roof racks are heavy 2 points now. No reason wrong one. That is, I think, a very, very good argument, because these are roof racks like we previously made. This is full size. CBE one's actually close, but before we could run some very sketchy roof racks, and they work. They counted the points, lightweight. I always space mine up anyway, but now it's actually more 3.2 millimeters, which is more than I was spacing mine off anyway. And then they have to equally be that thick. So you got to think that's more weight, and it's a roof rack, so it's on the roof, which is the tallest, highest point of your build. So when it comes down to it, it is in the inconvenient place. So I'm debating as myself as well on there. One, we need to get some made. Which I need to give it Justin to see if he can do another order on those. Because Sin Cut Sind did say these were 1/8 inch, and they're not an 1/8 inch. They're barely a millimeter thick. So Sin Cut Sind was a little off on those. Oh, cut the bottom out of the cooler. Oh, okay, I see what you did there. They did. Gary, I'm at 55 currently, no drop bed after the new rules. I'm at like 49 or 50, so a roof rack doesn't count. I'm not changing that because I don't want to lose performance. Having tall roof, exactly. Like he said, they had and they did. You're too late. Fair enough. Did you get the test then? So I just don't want to waste a trip. So I don't need to just go into Hobby Town without specifically needing somebody, because then I just get things. A couple of things I lose points for with the new rules, but I make up points elsewhere. Yeah, fair enough. It's illegal if you get caught. This is true. Do the roof racks have to be metal? There is there's a point difference between metal or plastic. Roof rack, yeah. Metal, it's worth -2. Plastic, it's worth 1. So it's, I mean, plastic, yeah, would be lighter, but the other part on here is at any point in time, which I think a lot of people are honestly overlooking this too, but at any point in time, your vehicle is out of spec. A scale accessory falls off, something breaks on your truck, you're out of spec. So, plastic, carbon fiber, stuff like that, I've had the tendency to send my comp trucks pretty hard, and I can send them. Metal roof racks, yes, they will bend. They will bend, but they're not going to shatter. I've shattered plastic roof racks, and I've shattered carbon fiber racks. And if that's the case, if that roof rack breaks in the middle of the run, the judge can stop me, and I have to make the truck legal again. So I lose, if I can't fix it right there, I have to go fix it the truck. So then I would lose a minute, and then I would get 10-point touch repo repair penalty. So at that point, it's like, I might not just run one anyway. There's another thing, like any scale accessories and stuff like that. Like we talked about it, we joked, we had some good laughs about it here at our throwdown, is yeah, I don't need windshields or anything, windows in any of my class 2 or 3 or 1 I do, but 2 and 3 I don't. But I don't want stuff falling out. So honestly, all what I'm going to do is just all my stuff is going to get shoved inside the cab, and I'm going to take tape on the inside and make my window. So if something does bounce around, it's just going to be like stuck up against some packing tape on the inside that are my windshields, because it's all taped up, it can't fall out. So that's, if I can't bolt it on or properly secure it, I'm moving it as best I can. I said, I'm going to have to take some things from Jake and Shugu all the things. So unfortunately, that's what we're going to have to do. I have the roof panel for this somewhere, which I need to grab it because I am going to, it has a sunroof here for this, which I do need to fix completely. And then also, I am going to do some work on the interior because I need to get this down a little bit more. I'm not quite at 1 inch of depth on my interior in my class 1. My class 2 and 3, actually, I got the inch just fine. Class 1, I'm actually having some problems getting everything shoved down in there. But I also need to make Class 1 skinny too. It doesn't matter, light or not, roof rack is too tall enough. Also, yes, that is true. That is another, has to be spaced an 1/8 inch off, and has to be an 1/8 inch thick. So 3.2 and 3. So almost 6.5 millimeters is what it has to be, which doesn't seem like much. But when you're fitting through places or getting at weird angles, I've hit all my roof racks before with just my little spacers. Having another spacer, or then if you have a space, you have your roof rack, and then if you put, the winch point in the roof rack, then that's also this tall. It's also not where I put my winch points anymore. I don't put them on the roof. I put them on the back. One, it works better. Carbon fiber is stronger than plastic. This is true, but I have shattered them. Shane, where are the new rules posted? They are on the Sorka Facebook page. It is a living rule set through a OneDrive file. If you go a couple videos previously on my, should be 2023 Sorka rules. I have the link in there, and it is the OneDrive link, and it should automatically update to the newest set of rules. So I have links in there in that video. Or it is on the Sorka Facebook page, and from there they have the links pinned at the top. Cody, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. First time here. Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Yeah, run Lexan for Windows on C2 and 3, Windows on C1. All my scale points, I can bolt it down. The rest are in the cab, shoe boot. Exactly. Yeah, that's everything in the cab. And that is one reason I'm thinking about, with the Lexan. Like I said, Lexan, everything's enclosed anyway. And so I just put everything in there, and 50 points with the Lexan's not hard to beat. It's not hard to do. Especially the biggest thing, again, thanks to Brett there, was the driver. I ignored drivers as much as I could, but the way they've changed the driver rule, they're worth their weight in gold. All 8 grams of that dude. I will take my 8 gram 4 points, all the way over that. But again, they've just kind of gone through and added some wording through all the things. But the biggest thing is the pictures. The pictures, one, they're bigger and they're easy to read, and there is, like I said, there is a true outline of the Hilux in the background. So you have something to reference. You can look at the rectangle, but also see the actual truck. And basically, what the rectangle has done, the best way to describe it, is the rectangle is the gray area. The rectangle is the gray area. They define the gray area. Like, here's the actual Hilux. But again, the color portions, this is all they care about. So you have all this other body, all this other stuff, no major body modifications, stuff like that. It's all been removed. You can move entire fender wells over if you need to, stretch your wheelbases and stuff like that. Here's the last thing that I need to do on mine, is make one little extension piece, I think, just to play it safe. I want to extend this flush here with the very front. But another thing is, if I read everything correctly, I don't think if you're still watching, you shoot me a message. If I cut right here and then set it on my table and my heat gun and flatten this out where this fender is just completely flat, that's legal, and it also expands my wheel well. So it does everything that I need it to accomplish, which is basically getting it level here with the very front. Because previously, you had body and you had fenders. They were always kind of different. You could do stuff to the fenders, but you couldn't do anything to the body. Well, now with the rules being the way they are, this whole thing is body. This whole thing is rectangle. So this does need to come out here. Even though this fender, and this is the actual body, that needs to come out a little bit more, I think. So oh yeah, I do. I drill and bolt lots of stuff down. My sliders, like my sand ladders, stuff like that, that's all bolted down, stuff like that. Brother Best of Mess, how's your sliders? Sliders, I have none. I'm doing away with all my sliders for class 1, 2, and 3, as I don't like it. Not like I don't like it. I see the rule. It makes sense. It truly is a slider because, honestly speaking, like our sliders, prior weren't like sliders. Like these go right there into the side of the body, and that counted as a slider. That's not a slider. It's not what a slider is. A slider is a frame-mounted slider that the truck can smash on the rocks and be just fine. So that's all we had to do before, is just bolt them to the body. Physically, mechanically fasten to the body, we got slider points. New rule, sliders have to be chassis mounted. Whether they be bolted, welded, brazed, etc. They have to be chassis mounted sliders, which is fine. And there are options out there, even bolt-on options that will work. But like I've mentioned in other videos, like I do change bodies quite often, or I have multiple setups. Like I have a hard body and a Lexan body setup that I generally will run on my Class 2. When you build sliders that are chassis mounted, they're generally built to that body. So it might not work well swapping bodies and stuff back and forth. So I'm not messing with it. I'm not worried about sliders this year. Not running them. Did you notice the first rule set made it back to 2 drivers again because they had it set to a limit? Dang, did they? That's right, there was not a limit, but I was still. I'm going to look at people. Interior cover, drivers and passengers, maximum of 2 figures. Dang, that does ruin my plan. So I was going to shove 4. Well, I mean, 1 per seat. Like both my 2 and 3, they are extended cab vehicles, so they have a back seat. But cool thing is also, it just says a complete figure must be 5.5 inches tall and full interior, and it has to have a full interior to receive those points. And then a full interior must have full floor firewall bulkhead. So if you have your driver in there, his feet just can't poke into the open chassis wheel, which is fine because honestly, that's how my last interiors were. Like I said, they were super sketch. Seat, dash, steering wheel must be proportionally sized to accommodate a 5.5 inch figure and have the 1 inch depth. It's cool. They must be sized appropriately. It doesn't say anything about them actually having a set in the seat. And that's all I care about. So that's what will be fine there. With sliders on your body, it's on the rig when it's checked, so the sliders so they can be paper thin and hard body because the body won't let them plug. Exactly, yeah. Because what people were doing, and it passed a text, was aluminum foil tape, heating duct tape. It's aluminum tape. It is aluminum or whatever material. Like it is metal, but it is metal tape, and you could previously just put a strip of that along the bottom of your truck, and you could even drill a couple holes through and just run a bolt through just for good looks and measurements. And they are metal and they are mechanically fastened, and they counted as slider point. They counted as points. I didn't do anything like that. Mine were still just aluminum tube bolted to the side, so they got crushed, bent, whatever, but they were light and they worked. And yeah, they didn't bend because they were bolted to the actual body. But yeah, they also brought back custom points are back, which is good because that's where I think a lot of us, at least in tiers, we all lost like 2 or 3 points because it went from we didn't get the extra 2 for custom, which we actually still don't. We only get 1 point for custom now, 1 additional point. No, you still do get the 2 points additional. So okay, that's cool. So yeah, still get 2 additional points. So those are back up. So I regained points and stuff there. So that's also good. My roll bars are shoe good. Never had any issues. Friends have tried it now. Yeah. Yeah, that's a couple things like roll bars and stuff like that aren't too shabby. Like this one's actually excessive, but it looks really good. And my buddy made it for my other body, and I really wanted to not just waste it. So we made it fit on here and actually worked really, really well. And there's plenty of space so I can run my winch line and stuff through here. Shit. Bots. Hold on. Let me remove this stuff. Hey, I was going to click that. Yeah, don't do it. Don't click that. I tried to block them. Yeah, that's easiest ways to, like, I've removed. You can click just remove, but the best way is to report the whole thing, because then I think it stops them from continuing on shit like that. So yeah, thumb bad. Don't click that. That's bad things. There we go. Okay, we're all fixed there. But do you want to have any crazy questions from reading the rules and stuff? Yeah, I know we've been talking about the team chat off and on. I think we got a pretty good understanding on if we have questions. Our group's pretty gosh dang. The team chat's pretty helpful for sure. I don't think we have any questions to worry about there. So yes, so we will be giving some videos now that we have actual ready to go rock and roll rules, minus a few changes here and there. We will be able to, I'm going to get some videos started on them. Probably I'm going to go over each one individually, class 1, 2, and 3, just kind of see what things. Honestly, like the more you looked at your trucks and then read the rules, especially now, it's like really nothing was crazy. I could, now that I've made a different bumper, I could use my other body. My other bumper was illegal. Like it was up to here. Like I had a approach angle on that thing. So well, you know, it's certain keywords. Like the bots are just programmed to listen, and it is just keywords that pop up. If I knew exactly what those keywords were, I would still probably use them, because if I don't catch it, it's something that's probably just part of my daily life anyway. But yeah, whatever those keywords is, and then they just pop up. I would say examples, but then that's going to, I know some words that do it almost instantly, so we will avoid that. So there was one, it wasn't a word, it was a symbol. One of the symbols on the keyboard I used in one of my previous titles. That triggered some shitty algorithm, and the comments on it, I turned the video off from public for about an hour while I got everything fixed or figured out what was happening, and then realized that's what happened. So changed the title and we were good to go, and I had to go in, delete, block, remove people, all the posts, and then put the video back to visible status. But yeah, certain things. And after that, I learned, don't use symbols in my titles. It's different if the symbols in the picture, it's one thing, but once it's actually typed out where a bot can program it, it is what it is. My opinion is that people that didn't like the rule change are the ones that were really outside the scope on what the original rules were for. I can see that. It's two ways. It's people that built strictly and explicitly in the gray area, like their trucks are borderline legal in the class rules, so those were the ones that were targeted and stuff in this one. It wasn't like necessarily specific groups of people, like it was just certain things, like this body right here, the holiday buggy, was a big reason for a lot of changes, because you can make this work, and you can make this work ridiculously good. Andrew's a great dude, and the build, I love the build. Sean also ran this. I loved the holiday buggy builds. They were cool. I like those. I like these types of builds. If you're pushing the gray area, and you come up with something out of the box, something that not everyone has, or the custom build bodies, all the RJ fab bodies. I love all of those. Those builds those bodies, the work that's put in those, absolutely awesome. But those builds are what it's like targeted, but those were taken into account because they affected a lot of things. They had a lot of things that weren't defined or worded previously. Now all those things are. So it was those. And if you were in that gray area, yes, your builds were more likely greatly affected than others. But then, honestly, the biggest arguments, not necessarily even those, the gray builders that I've seen the problem. It's these super scale people that have done the biggest, that dislike this rules a lot. Like Class 1, losing the tire coverage rule. Made a lot of people mad. But it opened it up, but it still has its restrictions. It's able to restrict, like we were talking about the bumper. No one can have a bumper advantage over you because the biggest tire is what everyone can run, and the bumper can be no taller than that tire. So that bumper is going to be no taller than 4.19 inches. That your approach angle is going to be you can't get that any better than 4.19. You can get it close as you can to your front tires and to the top of your tire, which that is as close as it can be. Like I had the bumper on there, I had the bolts loose, I drove the truck forward, hit the bumper, and I pushed the bumper in till the tires touched. I pulled the bumper out just a smidge, tightened it down, drove it back into the wall, and made sure the bumper hit before the tires. Like, that was close. It's as close as it can get with, being legal. And then, same with the tires. I had a straight edge on here across both tires, and that's how I adjusted the bumper up and down. Just when it touched, I moved it down just a scooch more. So, yes, it opened up the wheel wells and things like that. And things like this to be made and be in Class 1. But overall, that added more options to build from, more creativity, in my opinion, because now you can build whatever you want as long as you fit in those 3 sections and you fit those 3 rectangles. You're legal. Major body modifications, stuff like that, not done, because I know people, especially in Class 1, with like the body modification rule, like the 4Runner body or the Hilux body. You start cutting around that grill and that headlight bezel, like 1 extra millimeter would have been awesome of clearance for turning or getting bumpers and stuff like that. But if you cut that 1 millimeter too far, your truck is illegal because you cut into the actual body and it became a body modification. You don't have to worry about that now. So honestly, it takes the stress out of making sure, like I mentioned in my previous video, that 50% tire coverage, man. If I look at it just like this, I'm on. But if I move my head over just a little bit or my truck moves, it's off. I don't have to worry about it now. Just make sure you're inside. Like, I still have room to go here. Like, I can narrow this up a little bit. I can cut some fenders off if I need to. Still might. Still thinking about it. But it's all there. But so for the scale people, Class 0 is coming. It will be a thing. They are working on it. So if you want the scale side, stay tuned. Class 0 is probably more your thing anyway. If you want scale, Class 0 has always been the more scale. There were people talking about, there shouldn't be any aftermarket chassis allowed in Class 1 or 2. I'm like, Class 1, man. Class 2, it's Class 2. Let Class 2 do some things. Just like the always argument, it shouldn't be they shouldn't be flat rail chassis in any class, which I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But the specific, Class 1 needs to be C-channel. Yeah, but honestly speaking, flat rail and a C-channel, there's not the advantage people think there is when having a flat rail and a C-channel chassis. You can still, with a C-channel, you can still put shock towers where you need to put shock towers to get better angles and heights and stuff like that. You can add shock keys. So all that stuff's there. You can still put transfer cases, Ford motor mounts, and all that stuff. You can still put that stuff in C-channel trucks. The Toizuki mount for the VS410. The VS410 chassis is C-channel, and it can have all that stuff, and is a very solid performing truck. Flat rail, it's flat rail. There's less stuff to worry about. I don't have to unbolt the whole frame and bend it out and slide stuff in and out. It's a lot easier to work on a flat rail chassis. So That's fine. And shock towers, they come through the bed or they don't. They said you don't have to have your shock towers come through the bed. You can work on cantilever style suspension, stuff like that. You can put the work in and probably get it to work just fine. This is just easier. And truly speaking, this is the better, more appropriate performance way to go. I just noticed that scantily clad calendar in the background. Which calendar? That one? That one's just trucks. That calendar is just tundras. There might be other couple things around there. Oh, Ivan, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, missed some things here. Oh yeah, a lot of the guys were only building the gray areas. Grade really have to adapt, but no, yeah, exactly. I think with the new set, everything sets now, I think everyone's gonna be just fine. What servos would you do for C3? I have G11s, but starting to get worn out. At least as strong as you can. G13 Pros or G14s, if you want to say Three Brothers. Those are the servos I use. That's what I recommend. The G13 Pros are ridiculous. Like, I need to grab 2 more of those for my Class 3. They're awesome. Yes, exactly. Indy. Yeah, no, shock towers, they don't have to be, you don't even need shock towers. They don't have to be bolted, brazed, welded, anything. They can all be one piece. It doesn't matter anymore. What? Well, I got some new calendars. You know, tool truck calendars we have some fun calendars at sometimes. I was making sure I didn't have any hanging up in here. I normally just keep them. But stuff like that is generally on this side of the table, or they stay at work in the toolbox. Speaking of, I actually have a new Snap-on calendar I need to replace. I didn't bring home. I got an extra one this year. Indy, yes, still has to be flat skid on Class 1, but yes, that is in there. Rather, people, it's not like spraying out, but it's in there. It has to be a flat skid. I said it has to be a flat skid because it has to be parallel, and you're not going to get an angle skid's not going to be parallel. But yeah, overall the rules and everything here got worded really good. We said the biggest thing was like on the body for Class 2 and 3, and some bumper width on those two. Was like the section here, like Class 1, I said the center section must start within an inch of the leading edge and trailing edge of the tires. For Class 1, that's still a thing, but there was also in Class 2 and 3, we're like, man, that's really close. Not so much on Class 2, but Class 3, that's really close, especially when you start bringing in bigger tires than 4-wheel steer. That doesn't give you a whole lot of leeway. So those are changed. Now it's 2 inches. So I actually need to get in here. I'm going to measure from here. I'm going to measure 2 inches out, and then I'm going to take it back 1/2 inch on each side just because these Vanquish tires are massive. I don't want to measure off the Vanquish tires in case I do change and throw my tusks on there or something like that. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway for when I run a different tire. I'll probably take, this will actually probably be taken all the way to here, and this all the way to here. Class 3 is already pretty aggressive. I should probably measure that now. I did remember there was one rule, but I do not recall seeing it. For example, like right here, this gap between your hood and your chassis rails. I remember reading in that set of rules that this area had to be covered. Like sometimes, like I wouldn't have anything here, so you would look through there and see 2 servos, which technically they should have been covered anyway. But I remember seeing something that said this area had to be covered. And now I cannot find it. So if it's still in there, let me know. If it's out, I'm taking all that stuff off. Yeah, Jeff's also Ryan's also super cool guy. super active on all the pages, super, super helpful, and super nice. Skeeter 93, $50 a week for life. Yeah, that's pretty much what it felt like. This is, yeah, squat life. It would be parallel then, but we're good. But so yeah, actually, I'm definitely more than good there. My center section definitely starts within there, and everything's legal, and your heights and stuff like that. So actually, yeah, this thing's actually got it. I can officially mount my bumper, because previously I was waiting on that rule for the center section here and how much I could cut and trim. But one of the things I was not so much on class 2, but class 3 was the bumper width. Because prior it said it had to be half track width. And I was like, well, I'm running some camber axles. My track width, I was like, crap, it needs to be like 3.5, almost 3 3/4 inches wide. And I was like, that's going to be too much. So it has changed. The bumpers have to be 1/3 of your track width. So, I mean, it's just, my track width is 7.5 inches. So my bumpers can be 2 inches just over and be just fine, which is just going to be chassis rail. Actually, my chassis rail is 3 inches, so plenty. I'm just going to put it like normal. I'm just going to put this on there. I'll take it to work tomorrow and I'll cut the edges off, but also make sure it's up. And I think class 3 can be above the tire, but either way, we're just going to get it as close as we can there, and then hack the sides off and call it a day. And then at that point, I need to just do the rest of the math here, make sure points are good. And yeah, C3 would be good to go for the year. I said so far, been doing great. I mentioned doing some more trimming here, and yes, so much better. I was able to get all of that trimmed and cut out. So links, everything's all right there. So it was definitely a night and day difference getting that whole area cut out. So we're all good there. Just need to finish up the bumper and add a few more scale items and call it a day. I did order some more drivers so I can shove them in there. My track width was crazy with Air. Yes. With Air 60s, yes. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I mean, my race, that thing was ridiculous. And you kind of want to do a Rift axle build just for people. Actually, seen a couple people working on Rift builds lately for C3. Those are big. I mean, they're Air 60 size, maybe a little bit touch wider, and just all around beefier. So I don't know. I think a few people said they've liked it, but for the most part, it's kind of like, what's everyone kind of feel like? So. But so yeah, that'll be the plan for the next round of videos. Is we're just going over each class specifically, kind of looking at our rectangles and pictures, and then kind of see what everything is. I was going to do some comparisons, what I started with what I went with, and why I changed. But realistically, I didn't have to change much of anything. I changed bodies because my C2, I crushed the bug at the last comp. Completely crushed it, so it's dead. And the LC70, the way I had previously cut it and had everything mounted, it was gonna be kind of sketchy. Plus, I needed to get everything shorter. That was one thing I was noticing with the LC70, the cab, everything was just too tall, so I needed to get everything squished. Yeah, there's always. So yeah, we'll go over the next ones. We'll hit class 1, 2, and 3, just kind of specifically touching over the rules and the rectangles, and then we'll do a video on points. I'm not going to touch the actual rules and stuff like that because they kind of stay the same, and they're pretty self-explanatory to read the actual rules and penalties and see what's what. So we'll do a video over points to, how to get points and, how everything's looking, I guess. And hopefully might be able to get started on some of those this weekend and also get some more. Like I said, I got the new yellow jacket. I have another one on the way, so hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff going. I said I got it in the class too, but I realized after I got everything in and everything that I can't show everything. So we're just gonna get another one, put in another truck, and also do get a video going with the Silent Assassin ESC. So super good there, just because everything gets nice and quiet. Honestly, other than that, nothing crazy in the rules. Everything I think went for the better in the rules. Getting custom points back. There's just some better definitions on here, and honestly, the newer pictures here are immensely better. One, they're easier to see because they're full pages of each view, rather than having all three views in the same page. So that definitely helps in having that outline of the truck. Much better. So we'll go through all that. I remember what was illegal. Actually, the only thing illegal on my previous class one were the shock towers, which is an easy fix, and my bumper height, also an easy fix. Those are truly the only two things that I would have had to change on my previous class one. And it would have been perfectly fine. My class 3 was perfectly fine. I just built a whole new truck. So that's another thing. We built a whole new class 3 truck. And technically, class 2, I got a new body. We're good to go. But anyway, other than that, I don't think I got anything super crazy coming up. It's holiday season, stuff like that. And it is getting close here for our new arrival. So at any point in time, if there's a gap of a few weeks where you just don't see anything, that's probably what's happening. So expect that, honestly, at this point, any time. So I had to keep the extra transmission hidden in top secret for all. Yeah, I hear you there. Why can't you show? Well, I mean, people saw, but still keep things, you know how it is. But yeah, holiday season stuff coming up like that. So there may be a little gap. Again, new edition coming. So there may be a slight gap in some things where I'll just kind of vanish for a little bit, but it'll be okay. And we'll still answer questions, stuff like that. I'll try to do, at least if I don't get other videos going, I'll at least try to keep up with the live streams. They may be obviously quite a bit shorter and a little more quiet, but we'll work on those. We'll get some sort of videos lined out now. We got a more set in stone, finalized rule so that we can head into 2023. Like I said, if you are new, tuning in, just catching on it. I know a lot of people, this has been the talk for the last month. Rectangles and everything else like that. Send me pictures of those weights. Just some beef patties. And I've actually ground these down because they wouldn't fit in one of my method wheels, so I actually ground them so they should fit yours, whatever. But yeah, just normal brass weights like that. I have some really big ones, but they're not going to fit. Or found these ones the other day. Do have these ones. They're SLWs, all fit too. One thing is that is quite a, I don't know, I can have you look at both of them. It really doesn't matter to me. I have extra sets of all of them, so if you need a set, I rarely these ones or I have the other ones, whichever ones fit, you'll be fine. You might have to find a little bit of a longer screw, or depends on which hubs you use, stuff like that. But yeah, honestly, I said don't let the a lot of talk rectangles and shapes and the fact that it is a 50-page rule set now. Truly, if you are looking at going into the comping side of it, or in, not just comping side, into the circuit side of it, don't let it scare you. It'll be just fine. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, I just won't run Sorka. That's fine. You don't have to. But almost every comp, every rule set, in some way or another, gets their stuff based from Sorka. They get their general build guidelines from Sorka. They get their points from Sorka. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people do build for Sorka. Now, if you build for a 2023 Sorka truck, especially class 1, with some getting sketchy, the trucks aren't going to be legal versus the previous 2022 rule set. So people are like, oh, we'll just use the older rules, which you can. But I'm not saying it's going to happen instantly. But at some point over time, honestly, probably sooner than later, if you don't run Sork events and you have people or bring in people that do run Sork events, you're going to have a conflict because people want to be stuck and still use the old rules versus the new rules. You're going to have people that do build for the new rules, and they won't be legal at your event. And you're going to be forcing them to build 2 different trucks or 2 different sets of bodies. And some people will. A lot of people probably won't. So at some point in time, there is going to be give. Other clubs, rules, events, they're going to start at least using the build specs as guidelines. Might not be completely to the T, but at some point, everything's going to slowly transition to these new rules. So, best advice is kind of get used to it now. A lot of other local clubs, like they're specifically saying, hey, our series, we're using 2022 rules to this point, and then from this point to this point, you can be for both, but you have to be either built to 2022 or 2023. You can't be built to both because that could be a mashup of a freak of nature creation. Your truck either has to be fully 2023 legal or fully 2022 legal. And then at another point, everything has to be 2023. And that's how I think a lot of clubs should be doing it. It should be a slower transition, give people time to build and work on new things. If they're already ready to go for 2023, let it go. If they're need to take a little more time, they still have till X amount deadline. But again, almost everything, every local club, we have to base rules off something. And the fact that there are still a lot of Sork events, a lot of Sorka competitors, a lot of people that I've always built my trucks to fit Sorka rules. So if I'm building for 2023 and your event in 6 months says my class 1, I have to basically be the old rules, probably not going because I'm not redoing the whole class 1 body. Honestly, I can just swap, but that's not the point. If my truck's built for 2023, I should be able to use it anywhere. That's just how it's going to be. If I'm Sorka legal, I should be legal at any event. That's how I've always seen it. That's how it should be. If your truck is Sorka legal, you should be legal anywhere because these are supposed to be the strictest, true guidelines that everyone kind of uses. And that's another thing, like if you use Sorka rules at an event or advertise that you're a Sorka event, the rules have to be followed to a T. That is specifically in their section that if you modify the rules, it's not a Sorka event. Plain and simple, if you want it to be a Sorka event, you can't modify the rules. So, like I said, don't let the rules scare you. If you had trucks built before, and like I said, people, I'm going to throw it away, I'm selling everything, don't. Especially now with the new set that just came out. Honestly, maybe almost everyone probably has to change a bumper in class 1. That's a given. Everyone's going to change a bumper in class 1 and cover some shock towers in class 1 and class 2. That's pretty much it. Class 3 got opened up more. Class 2 got opened up more. And class 1 they all got opened up more. But in the gray area, it's all there. It's going to be fine. It's a new challenge. It's fun. That's how it's going to be. Cody, how often do you go live? I try to go every Thursday, unless like major holiday or I'm sick. But I do try on Thursdays, just because it's in the middle. I know there's live streams Tuesday night. I watch the live stream takeover on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I know Friday there's a couple live streams. So Thursdays is I've kind of just squished myself right in the middle. I'm not a big channel or anybody important by any means, but I know lots of people like enjoying the other live streams, so I don't want to intrude on those or whatnot. I mean, obviously, my channel's not getting picked over those, but it's kind of squeezed myself here. Thursday seemed to like be a nice open slot, so that's where I started, and that's where I've stuck. Yep, exactly. Yeah, we may change up a couple of live streams, but honestly, yeah, Thursday's just the best. It works the best. But anyways, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna go play some video games. So need to go relax for a little bit, make sure everything else is taken care of, make sure homework and all that stuff's done, and I need to play some video games. So as always, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Everyone, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. Questions, stuff like that. Stay tuned. We'll get some new videos coming. Feeling better, so we'll get back going on that. So until next time, everyone, have a great one. Crawl on. Good night, everybody.